Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Low Back Pain Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Grant Elliott with RehabFix online low back program. And today's topic is how to get back to running without low back pain or while suffering from a low back related injury. Many of you that follow my content, that follow this podcast, are active individuals. And many of you are struggling with low back issues. And we all know that there is a large population of individuals that love running. We get that runner's high, releasing those endorphins. Running is awesome. It's not my preferred cardio outlet, but I understand that running is awesome for so many people. And I work with tons of individuals who want to get back to running, not only because they love it, but to help their overall fitness, to get back in shape, because most likely low back issues have put them out of commission. But we have to be very careful about not only getting back to running, but getting back to any significant activity while recovering from a low back related issue. I know we all understand the concept of, you can't just go from 0 to 100. You can't just dive in the deep end. We all know that, but many individuals still do just that because they might not understand exactly what that may look like, what they perceive jumping into the deep end or going from 0 to 100 might not be really what they're doing, or they might perceive that to be a lot greater than what they're doing, but they're still actually doing that, and they're setting themselves back, they're causing flare-ups, and they're experiencing frustration from not being able to do the things that they want to do. So I'm going to give you a brief outline today of how you can get back to running while you're recovering from a low back related injury, or after you've recovered from a low back related injury, without pain, the right way, so you can run pain-free for years to come and you won't have to worry about a thing. Now, let's assume the situation. I'm going to take my average client, okay? My average online client in my program that I work with. Average client, probably been dealing with low back issues, disc herniation, sciatica for around 1 to 2 years. Okay, let's assume mid to late 30s. All right, previously active individual, hasn't ran in, let's say a year. They haven't ran in a year. Okay, and they used to run, I don't know, let's just say 8 to 10 miles a week. Okay, 8 to 10 miles a week. That's decent. So they really want to get back to running, but every time they try to run, either their low back is killing them, or their sciatica flares up during the run or after the run. And man, they can't seem to get back into running. So here's how the process looks. First off, we got to fix the low back issue. We got to fix the nerve issue. So they need to have a structured plan. We work through that. Let's fast forward. Let's say 3 months into the program, because on average, my clients are symptom-free or mostly pain-free by the halfway mark. That's kind of how it's structured. So the second half, the program is 6 months, so about halfway point, symptom-free, pain-free. Second half, we really work on bulletproofing their body and building them back up through phases like this. So they're mostly symptom-free, okay? Low back is feeling great, range of motion is returned, sciatica, it's no longer there. You better believe they're ready to get back into running. But if they try to go and run the same amount that they're used to, I guarantee you they're going to flare things up. And you might be thinking, wait, but I thought you just said that their low back had good motion. Their sciatica was gone. Why wouldn't they be able to get back into running? This goes back to load management. I created a podcast specifically on this. You should roll back and listen to that podcast. You have to respect load management. You can't just go back to normal things. You can eventually, but not the second you're pain-free, because when the pain is gone is when the real rehab begins. Hence this podcast. If you jump right into running at the exact same pace that you were before your low back injury, even if you're pain-free, but you've only been pain-free for maybe a week or two, you are going to flare up your low back. You are going to flare up your sciatica. Don't make this mistake. I'm here to teach you how to not make this mistake. What's most wise to do. Now, I've had some individuals slowly get back into running, okay, without doing this phase I'm going to teach you. They go from running half a mile a week to a mile a week to 2 miles a week to 3 miles a week, very, very slowly, and they're able to successfully do that. But not everyone can. So I'm going to teach you the most applicable, most optimal way to get back into running that will reduce your chances of flare-ups and will prepare you the best possible for running. So the first phase you need to go through before just getting right back into regular running is what I just call force absorption type work. And eventually we could term it explosive type work. So let's think about it. What is required from running? Essentially, you need to have single leg support because you're jumping from one leg to the other, depending on your speed. There might be, a complete instance where no feet are touching the ground, and then one has to support you for a period of time, right? But also, there is compression on the spine. Now, a lot of people think that compression is, compression on the spine, terrible, terrible, terrible. It kind of gets into semantics. Okay, there's semantics of different words. There's a connotation with that word, but compression is not a bad thing. It's just what happens to be occurring. Just like decompression is not a bad thing. It's not a good thing either. It's just what's happening to occur, because some people, their low backs will really love decompression. Some people, it'll hate it. With some people with compression, their low backs will love it or their low backs will hate it. It depends on their current state of their low back. So let's go ahead and remove fear from that term compression. It does not inherently mean anything good or bad. It's just something that is occurring within the spine, within the discs. All right. So running requires compression on the low back. So let's expose the low back to compression prior to just jumping right back into running. Okay. So a simple example here, we want to get back into these force absorption type movements. So maybe you're pain-free, you're sciatica-free, everything's gone, and it's been so for a couple weeks. So let's start to get into these things. A simple jump. You're in a squat position, you bend down, you jump up, maybe you only jump up half a foot. Okay. Jump up half a foot, land, absorb that force. Jump again, land, absorb the force. Jump again, land, absorb the force. Maybe you just do a few reps to start. Wait, see how your body responds. Feel okay? Okay, maybe do a couple sets of that. And that's the only thing you do for a few days. Make sure your body can handle it. So I'm going to start to get through this quicker. All right, but let's assume that you do each of these exercises for 4 to 5 days or even a week. Let's make it really slow here. Let's say a week. Okay, you do each of these for a week. And every time you're assessing your feeling, the way that you feel, the way your nerve feels, the way your low back feels during the exercise, later that day and the next day. Those are the things you're assessing. So maybe week 1, you're just doing regular jumps, just both legs jumping on the ground. Week 2, maybe you're doing single leg jumps. You're jumping up with one leg and maybe we land with both legs. So you jump up with one leg, land with both. Jump up with one, land with both. And then you jump up with one, you land with one. Jump up with one, land with one. See how we are progressively advancing this, okay? Then maybe we do lateral jumps. So you're jumping to the side, landing with both legs. Then you're jumping to the side, landing with one leg. Now maybe we do box jumps. You're jumping up onto a box. You can drop down from a box. I'm not sure the exact term of this. I'll just call it a box drop. Okay, so let's say you're standing on the edge of a 36-inch box and you just, stick one leg out and you just kind of step off and you land. And you just practice landing. It's a little bit higher than you're used to. It's a little bit more compression than you're used to. We are slowly exposing your spine, your discs, your nerve to compression so that it has a chance to adapt. This is going to prepare your low back joints, discs, your hips, your knees, your feet, your ankles, everything. It's going to prepare it for running because it's similar forces to running. And then maybe you're on that 36-inch box and you're not just stepping off of it and landing. Maybe you're jumping off of it. You're jumping up off of it and landing. Maybe you're dropping off of it and landing with one foot. There's so many different ways to strategize this and to slowly increase the exercise load, the frequency, the volume, the complexity of it or the difficulty of it, I should say. That's a really fast, I didn't pre-plan that. I just went through my thoughts right there. That is a way that you could work through those progressions. So maybe you work through that for, let's say 2 months. 2 months you work through that and you go through all those exercises slowly. making sure you have a good response. By the end of that, you better believe your low back, your discs, your nerves are ready to run. And maybe you slowly start phasing in that running for the last few weeks. You're still doing your force absorption work, but you're throwing in a half-mile run here and there. That would be a good way to kind of transition, right? So then you get into the phase 2, the running load management. So now you have to be very careful here. All right, so I've been pain-free for 2 months. I went through this force absorption stuff. I'm going to go run 5 miles day one. Still a bad idea. Still a bad idea, okay? Let's start very easy. So maybe you do half a mile 2 different times a week. Let's just say Monday, Friday. Monday, Friday, you just run half a mile. You're like, this is nothing. This is easy. I used to run 5 miles a day. I used to run 3 miles a day. Whatever. I don't care if it's easy for you. We're going to be smart here. So we do half a mile Monday, half a mile Friday. Okay. Week 2, maybe you do 3/4 mile Monday, 3/4 mile Friday. Then a mile Monday, mile Friday. Mile and a half Monday, Friday. 2 mile Monday, Friday. 2.5 mile Monday, Friday. You get the idea. Slowly scaling up, slowly exposing your body to these forces, not just the low back, but all areas, so it has time to adapt. Going through this slow, methodical, and scientific process to prepare your spine and the rest of your body for running is the best way for you to return to running, or you could apply it to almost any other activity without flaring up your low back, without re-injuring your low back while you're recovering from a low back injury, or to prevent yourself from injuring your back prematurely if you have not been recovered long enough. Because we want these changes we've made within your low back to become concrete. We want you to be bulletproof before you're trying to do exactly what you used to be able to do at the pinnacle of your athleticism before this low back injury. We want to build you back up in a way to where you're bulletproof and you can do anything you want, whenever you want, to the intensity that you want. And you're not going to set yourself on the sidelines again. You're not going to find yourself flared up and scared and worried about your low back. And, you're on a vacation with your family and, you went on a big hike, or you played with the kids too long and now you got to hang out on the couch or hang out in the hotel room. No. Let's put that behind us. Let's properly go through these stages so that you can return to the things you love. In this example, running, without pain, without worry, and you can be confident in yourself and in your abilities. So many of you are runners out there. Many of you are struggling with low back issues that want to get back to running. So this is the process that I highly recommend you go through. It will be highly effective. You will find you can successfully return to running without flaring up your low back and without injuring it once you're getting back into more intense durations of running. You just need to be patient. You just need to be methodical, and you just might need the right guidance as well. So if you're having a difficult time doing this on your own and you would like a teammate along the way, you would like some guidance because you've been in this hamster wheel spinning round and round, spending money on ineffective things, not getting the guidance you're looking for, let me know. I would love to help. This is what I do. And it would be an honor to help you wherever you are at in the world get back to the things you love without worry, without pain, and living your life the way that you were meant to. So if you enjoyed this podcast, please support it. Zero cost ways you can support this. Leave a rating and review in Apple Podcasts if you feel as though I deserve it. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, share with a friend that might be dealing with low back issues or is trying to get back into running with these low back issues so that they can learn and you can learn together how to fix your low back. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.